Jets Guru, aka at Guru Jets on Twitter. Hey, you are now watching Jets Guru Live. Go Jets, 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 Jets.
Let's make sure we play like the New York Jets.
I would never back down, y'all giving up, I would never tap out. Y'all capping, I would never cap out. Made it out the mud from the back of my dad's house. I was so selfish, living with a death wish. It was so tempting, ignoring my blessings. Always in bed, but never felt rested. Living so fast, could've died, I got arrested. Mine was in prison and I was a victim, but I was a villain, was losing my vision. I felt something missing with every decision. I think to myself I should be more forgiving. The devil was hitting, but I battled back. Before it was too late, I got back on track. Got used to depression and panic attacks, but I kept walking through hell and I never looked back. I won't ever back down again. Life's been throwing me challenges. I've been staying on track with it, and I will keep it going to the very end. When my life's put to the test, I will not accept second best. I will never back down, I will never hold back. Success up on my mind and I want it so bad. I will never hold back, I will never hold back. I will never back down, I will never hold back. Success up on my mind and I want it so bad. I will never hold back, I will never hold back.
I'ma let them know that every time you hear me on the track I be in high resolution. But my last
What's going on, Jets Nation? CJ the Painkiller D. Simone here, and you are watching Jets Guru. Now, give it up for your host, Mr. Daniel Smith!
What is going on, New York Jets Guru fans out there? Really appreciate the support. You guys are amazing people, amazing Jet fans. We got new life in this team, new life, and I'm just super excited, to be here. Obviously, it's not something that you sit there and you think, when are the Jets finally going to be the team that, we need them to be? We need the Jets to be the team that goes out there and gets the wins. It's just 10 years of no playoffs. It's just, oh man, I feel like I'm growing old. Got the bags under the eyes coming in a little bit. Everything is starting to change. And the Jets stay the same each and every year. But we got a new start, and you got to be happy about that. You truly got to be happy about the new start. And you can't get any better reports than what we've gotten out of OTAs from some of these people. It's just, it's amazing. This is what happens when you start to piece your team together the right way. And it's something that not just myself, this is something that we've heard from many Jet fans, many analysts about how the Jets run their football team. And it starts from the top on down. And we spoke about it. We spoke about how Woody Johnson and company got excited about their new toy. They brought Rex Ryan over, and they were excited about the possibilities of a new start. And the Jets started off hot with Rex Ryan. The Jets were all over the newspapers. And it was just one of those things when you sit and you think about it. If you're an owner and you're having that type of communication between your coaching staff and you and the GM, and that's great. But I think that they got a little comfortable with that stream of information and how they channel things, how they run their organization, and ultimately what the players were to expect out of that type of communication as well. Free agents, other people on the outside. And the Jets got away from themselves. They really did, to be honest with you. Really got away from themselves, started running the organization backwards, started hiring GMs, but not letting the GMs pick their own head coach. The Jets were going to move away from Rex Ryan, right? And then all of a sudden the players, they just brought themselves back and they fought hard and Rex Ryan won the locker room, won the organization. And even though John Idzik didn't do a great job at building around Rex Ryan, that's because he didn't want Rex Ryan to be his head coach. He had a completely different outlook for the football team. A completely different outlook. And you could say what you want about Idzik, and he actually pushed it too far because he made Rex Ryan's team so void of talent, and it was so obvious that he wanted to force Rex Ryan out the door that he set himself on fire there, so to speak. And it cost Idzik his job and only bought Rex Ryan another year. And all of a sudden, you're in shambles again. And this is just how it goes with the Jets recently. Then you bring in a guy like McCagnon, using every tool available to you. We're going to bring in this guy who's not a Jet, that guy that's not a Jet. We're going to bring in this firm that's not a Jet, and we're going to tell them to figure out how to fix this mess that's the New York Jets that has been here for a while. And it's more than just the quarterback, right? It's like you almost have this small fear that the Jets are going to screw this up. But why is that? Why is that? If the coaching staff changes, if the players change, if the style of football changes, but the results from the quarterback position are the same, could you really be that unlucky that you pick the wrong guy each and every single time? Or could it be that you do not get the right system to put in place for your young people? Because you're grabbing a piece here, grabbing a piece there, mix match this and that. You can't do that as an organization. We know how it's built because people have done it before. So follow the same method. Follow the same damn method that all these other successful organizations have done. Hire yourself a GM, right? Hire yourself a GM. Then have that GM hire himself a head coach. Now, I know there was some kind of connection between McCagnon and Bowles. McCagnon would have never chose Bowles because you know why? Because when the Jets brought in Johnny Morton to be the offensive coordinator, where the Jets, the last time their offense was good, he was here, Bowles did not approve. And because the New York Jets won more games than expected that year, Bowles bought himself another year. And because of the organizational tier that they ran, it just shoots right up to the owner. Morton gone, Bates in. Rest is history from there. Then they go ahead and they hire Adam Gase, not asking McCagnon. You could think what you want about McCagnon, but he put together a football team, okay, that was not coached properly, from a guy who would never want the players that Mac chose in the first place. Regardless of who's wrong or who's right, we all know they both sucked. But that is the point, is that you can't control every little single facet of your organization when you're not a football guy. And I probably never get hired for the Jets for saying that, but it's true. You're a businessman who's done a great job at building up in your family, Johnson & Johnson, despite all the news reports about this or that. It's a great company that spread itself out, right? But that doesn't mean just because you have money that you know the ins and outs of football. So let the football people run it, and you reap the benefits. Man, you don't hear nothing about Robert Kraft, right? And they say, oh, well, that's because they got Belichick and Brady all these years. It's not just that. It's not just that. It's the fact that if you're willing to hire a person and pay them a hefty salary, you should be confident in their decision-making, and you should be confident in having the organizational tier where the coach, the staff talks to the coach, the players talk to the staff talks to the coach talks to the GM talks to the owner. There's tiers there for a reason, and we've seen it with the Jets because you'll have that back and forth. Reports leak that Adam Gase didn't want this player. Oh, this person didn't want this player. They wouldn't have hired this GM. GM and coach, they're like this. Oh, the GM's not getting players for this coach because he wants the coach gone. All these nonsense reports are being fed by the New York media, but they're being coddled. by the ownership. They're coddling it. They're making it a talking point. Well, you know what? No more. At least not for a few years. At least not this year. At least not next year and probably the year after. And if we have success, it could go even further. You know why? Because finally, ownership listened, and maybe Woody spending time overseas helped his decision-making in this and just taking a step back, maybe overviewing what he's done over the last few years as an owner. Remember, Woody's not cheap. This has nothing to do with him bringing in players. Woody Johnson will bring in whoever he needs to. He wants to win. He's not a bad owner in that sense. Where Woody fell is his organizational tier, him getting too cozy during the Rex Ryan era, and it kind of destroying the organizational tier of the New York Jets. And now you finally come out, you say, listen, Joe is our guy, because you don't hire a candidate like Joe Douglas, who would have had a job at so many other places, just to have him sit there. He's a football guy, started up from the bottom to nothing. He knows a little bit about the ins and outs of an organization. You've seen what he's been able to do and where he's come from, the tree that he's come from. And if there's one thing in the NFL that they're so big about, is the NFL tree. Where did you come from? Where are your roots? And Joe Douglas has great roots. And finally, the Jets said, go at it. Go ahead. Go ahead and take it. And what did Joe Douglas bring in? Not an offensive guy to kind of uproot Adam Gase. So we're going to get the right offense here. None of that. And Joe Douglas has been number one on saying what type of offense he wants to run. He wants to be an explosive offense because that is what the NFL dictates. He has said that in his press conferences before, but he hires a defensive coach to add balance, not because he was a hot candidate or any of this stuff, but because what players were saying about this guy from his coaching tree. Real recognizes real 100%. 100%. And he saw this guy was just like me in a sense. Worked from the ground up, analyzing tape, breaking down tape. He may not even, Saleh had maybe that much time to really get what he wanted out, but what he just needed to do to get the football team prepared, and he did it and worked his all the way up, taking his defense to the Super Bowl, and ultimately now becoming the New York Jets head coach. I thought it's awesome. I love his scheme about just flipping it on its head. The Jets had no character the last couple of years. Really, the Jets have had no toughness or character since Rex Ryan left, and it's understandable a little bit because Rex Ryan comes from a coaching tree where defense was just paramount, and so you're not going to get too much tougher than that on defense the way he went out there and coached NFL defense. And so we really haven't had that type of an edge. And here comes this young guy, right? Great guy, in shape. Looks like he could go out there and play football himself, not too far removed. All gas, no brakes, intensity, completely different than Adam Gase. And I love it. And I love all the things that Saleh has been saying about having his staff be accountable. He's not trying to be some mastermind. He's got stuff within the game that he needs to take care of. The offensive coordinator is going to call the offense for once. You got your defensive coordinator calling his defense. You got your passing game coordinator and that, processing that information with his guy over to LaFleur. These guys are getting paid by the New York Jets, and they're going to be used, okay? Not be hired by the New York Jets and Dow low gains and be there in practice or something. That made no sense to me, that you have another offensive mind and you don't let him call plays. Yeah, that's the reason why you have all these issues. And then you look at someone like Todd Bowles and how he delegated stuff and how he went about time management and different things. I am so excited to have Robert Saleh here and what he's been saying. We'll see what happens when they get on the field, but super excited about that. And he's able to bring in his guys. Imagine that. When Matt Rule from Carolina wanted to come here, he couldn't bring his guys. He was forced to have leftovers from what ownership wanted down, what the GM wanted down. You're not going to get anywhere like that. Again, if I'm as a coach going to put myself on the line and come to the New York Jets who haven't had success in years, I'm going to make sure I'm bringing my guys. And if you say no, that's okay. I'll go right back to my old job, or there's 2 or 3 guys behind you that I can jump along with. And hey, I'm just going to go to Carolina and get McCaffrey and those boys, and then I wound up getting your quarterback anyways. And see, the Jets wind up playing these mistakes, not this time. They got who they wanted. They gave the guy the power who deserves the power. And now you're starting to see a cohesiveness. No reports of this player, this guy drafted, the Jets were looking to go here, but then the GM said no, or the coach said no, or the owner came. None of that. Everything lockstep together, how it should be. And then, how are the Jets rewarded by that? The Jets are rewarded by that by having great OTAs, by having guys who they drafted shine and look good. You know why? Because they drafted players that fit their system. They drafted players who are going to play role. Like, they like, this guy's going to fit specifically in what we need him to do. Not, oh, this is the best guy available, we're just going to take him. No. This team looks like they actually have a plan. They drafted Michael Carter because they realized they needed another young back who was dynamic to put in between guys like Tevin Coleman, who have been injured but know the system, so it's a good translation, or young guys like Ty Johnson or Adams, or you need Perrine, you need another talent in there. So they go out and they bring a talent in there. They looked at their offensive line. They said, no, I didn't like the prospects in free agency. Let me just go trade up with all the stuff that we got. And this is why you trade a safety for all that stuff. So you could go and get your guard to pair right next to Mekhi Becton and Vera Tucker and lock up the left side of your line so your quarterback can focus on what he needs to do downfield. And then after all the dust is settled and Elijah Moore comes out there and he's blowing up mini camps and Zach Wilson and all this other kind of stuff, you hear reports the Jets are going to sign Moses, possibly, from the Redskins, a definite replacement over Fant, a guy who hasn't missed a start yet, a guy who's gotten better each and every year, and it seems like he's figured out the right tackle position or the game itself, because when you see a guy's PFF and you see his grades go up each and every year, that means he's getting accustomed to the game. He knows what to expect. He's seeing the same things over and over. It's registering. It's becoming habit. And when it becomes habit, you become faster because you don't have to think as much. And when your technique gets better, as you become a veteran, you move even faster. You clean things up better than you could before. This guy's a durable tackle. This would allow Mr. Fant to swing either way, because remember, Fant can play left tackle, and Mekhi Becton, he's been injured often. So this isn't the end-all, say-all for Mr. Fant as well here. And I like this move because instead of the Jets going and drafting a high left tackle and moving him to the right side and eliminating yourself from getting a player that can help the team elsewhere, because right tackle is not a need. But if you could bring in a guy like this where all it costs you is a little bit of money that you could roll over, and this guy could be your starter for the next 2-3 years maybe, or even if it was just this year, then man, getting guys at specific points where it matters. You know, as fans, we want to rush into everything. Sign that offensive lineman. Sign this guy. Trade for that guy. Bring that guy. Oh, Julio Jones is available. Bring him in. Bring him in. Just, we want to win so badly, and it makes sense, and I get it. But there's a time and a place for everything. Remember when Jamal Adams first started talking, we're like, we got to pay Jamal, man. He's our leader. He's our guy. Joe is like, listen, man, we got holes. If you want to be a good team, watch the good teams in the playoffs. And you tell me how far away we are. And Jamal Adams is not going to help us get there. Maybe for Seattle it might. And we saw it and it wasn't. And now they're dealing with him. And you don't think Joe could see that? Because then we started seeing it. The way Jamal started acting. Does Jamal deserve to get paid? Yes, for what he's done. But he doesn't fit, to me, to give up all of that asset that takes away from a team that needs to rebuild. So Joe made the correct move. Joe seems to always make the correct move, with the exception of Robbie Anderson, and he owned it. He came right out the first press conference. Everybody's like, where's Joe? Where's Joe? The Jets suck. They haven't won. Where's Joe? Joe comes out. He says straight up, my fault. I overvalued the position with the money that it was at. I should have paid a little bit more for a hometown guy. My bad. Robbie's having a great season. Congratulations to him. Fair enough. Fair a damn enough. Because other than that, when he first got here and he brought in guys like Burgess Jr. and all these little players to help kind of like keep the team together and fighting, all excellent moves, trades, getting rid of Leo. Leo didn't deserve that he wasn't putting up stats like that he did with the Giants last year with the Jets. You want to pay that man? The Jets got enough compensation for what that guy gave us. The guy seems to make all the appropriate moves when they're needed. For once. Now we're going to see how it works on paper when you actually have a competent coaching staff that could coach a damn roster, that could look at players and evaluate players. Yes, I'm excited. I'm damn excited about this team. But one of the things that I'm actually more excited about right now, because it's been a while, is bringing over my buddy Kevin from Live Rounds. You know, Mr. I call him worldwide, right? Because you got Jets Guru audio show, Live Rounds. He's limousine riding and flying in his job for business. Okay, so he's a little bit everywhere, and we're going to be bringing in Kevin a lot more often to the show. But thanks for joining us, Kevin, again. And I'm pretty sure you heard me just go on my rant. I mean, it's an exciting time. It's an exciting time on paper as well for these New York Jets. And I mean, you look at the OTAs, and I think you just got to be excited about what you've seen. What are some of the things that you've heard or you saw on tape or the little clippets they released that get you excited? What players have you seen that get you really turned on for the season?
Well, especially if the signing goes through today that we're starting to hear rumblings about, I think what you've seen is depth. I mean, that's the first word that came to mind in camp. When you can have Davis kind of dinged up a little bit and you got Crowder holding out because of contract situations, and you still see more Cole and other players just stepping up and looking amazing at receiver and knowing that you were going to get those guys back. And the fact that you can be so deep at a position that, you know, Mims has to fight for playing time. Crowder's going to have to fight for playing time. And these are very talented players. It's not because they're not talented. It's that there's a level of competition in camp at wide receiver that we haven't seen in a long, long time. Like, honestly, I don't remember the last time where you kind of almost don't know who your starting two outside wide receivers are going to be week one. You can probably count on Davis. Davis is definitely going to start. I think that's a lock. But I don't know if it's going to be Mims. I don't know if it's going to be Cole. Cole has looked fantastic. Cole has looked fantastic, guys. It's not that, you know, good enough so that Mims going to have a hard time beating him. He's just really good. So I think that's something to look forward to. The other thing is, I think corner and linebacker, we're seeing some very exciting position battles. That's another position where Hall, Eccles, Pinnock, Guidry's in there, right? And, you know, who's going to start opposite Hall? Especially where the reports came out today, the Jets don't expect to pick up a veteran corner. They think they have enough guys in camp to kind of fill out that position. Maybe it's because of their feel on a couple things. And I'd ask Jets fans to pay attention to this. If they think their defensive line is going to dominate and cause pressure, it gives time for young players to develop because quarterbacks got to make decisions, get the ball out quicker. They don't have to cover as long. And the Jets may be gambling that this defensive line with Quinnen and Lawson and Rankins and Franklin Myers and Huff, that they're going to be able to get a pass rush. So I think that's something the Jets are gambling on. We're going to see how that pays out. Probably some weeks better than others. And I think we've heard a lot of good things about Nazar Al-Din and some of the young linebackers and how they're going to compete. I think we have a lot of positions where there's, like I said, competing. And the one other thing I would say is the reports will get too locked up in what Wilson's doing at camp. I can already tell you, Wilson's camp and season is going to be up and down. He's going to have amazing camps, and he's going to have camps where he is awful, puts things on film that he can go study because he needs to study, right? Where his eyes should have been, where he should have looked, how he should have looked off the safety, how he should have looked off the will linebacker. He's going to be learning that, and he needs to put it on tape and go watch it 50 times right? That's how he's going to get better. So if the Jets fans don't expect him to be up and down, like, you're crazy. So don't focus on that. Focus on his supporting cast, because that's what Joe Douglas is doing. The other name that I can't stop this conversation without saying is Carter, running back. And he's starting the number one running back. We got him and Elijah Moore. And are you setting Wilson up for success? Get all the right pieces around him. And it really looks like we have that. And that's what, to your point, when you were talking about get excited, Moore looks like Antonio Brown minus the attitude plus 4.3 speed. Antonio Brown ran a 4.59 coming out of college. That's the name when everyone says they watch him play. It's Antonio Brown because of his footwork. He's got crazy footwork, really good in and out of his routes, which means he can play inside, outside, right? There's some things there that he slipped to the second round, and that's what a lot of fans are focusing on, that he was a second-round pick, because some teams couldn't tell if he could only be a slot receiver. And they were kind of trying to fit him in. He dominated the SEC. Man, you don't get 86 catches in 8 games in the SEC. Who does that? With no quarterback. He's not playing at Alabama with 3 other first-round picks at receiver. He's playing at Ole Miss with no other receivers, no quarterback, getting 86 catches in 8 games. So I think he's showing things in camp that he's an inside-outside receiver, and that and how good is Carter on the wheel routes? I don't know if Jets fans are paying attention to this. How many wheel routes have we missed the last 3 years? We finally put them in the game plan, and we missed them over and over again. Carter is the leading rusher in the ACC that we picked up that should be plug and play, and he's already number 1 on the depth chart. Jets fans should say, I got a quarterback that's going to be up and down, but I like the pieces around him. You add Moses to that offensive line, man, like the depth that we're putting together to set Wilson up to say, hey, if you don't have it this game, we're going to run the ball 30 times. Screw it. You got Moses in that offensive line with Becton and AVT on the other side. The Jets have weapons. The Jets have depth, and they can switch up their game plans based on who they're playing on the week or how Wilson's performing. So I think Jets fans should be very excited.
Yeah, absolutely, Kevin. A lot of great points there. And I mean, yeah, it's been a long time since the Jets have had somebody like Moore in the building, especially a young wide receiver. You have to be just really excited about all the reports that you hear. And even Zach Wilson, I mean, more so I would say, not looking at the individual stats, but what the coaching staff has said about Wilson and how he's able to retain information and how he's able to learn from his mistakes, making 1 or 2 mistakes and then fixing them nearly immediately. A guy that's one of the first people in the building, along with Elijah Moore and Carter and these young guys, they got a chip on their shoulders. They want to come out here. And the reason why this is very important, and we saw this early in Joe Douglas' career here with the Jets. Well, early, he's only been here a few, but he likes to draft high-character captain-type guys. And there's a reason for that. And I believe because you want that work ethic to translate into the locker room. It's not just, about the talent. The talent, you can find a lot of talented people in the NFL. I mean, there's a reason why people's draft predictions always fail, because you look at these guys in college, you're like, they look great. They're going to look great in the pros. They're beating all the best talent in college. Why not the best talent in the pros? Well, there's a lot that comes with being a pro when you're playing against grown men who are trying to pay mortgages and, keep their family running. And you have to do little things. And some of those things players don't get until many years down the line. One of them was that. What are you scratching, Kevin? You scratching your leg? You sound like you got a wooden leg over there.
Oh, sorry about that, man. I was cleaning off my keyboard. I was like, what the heck is going on there?
So you look at these guys, and you just get super excited on what they could bring to the table from the leadership perspective, because you have to do those little things. Most of these guys don't learn until they're a couple years in how to take care of their body properly. That comes with being leadership and realizing you have to put some of those childlike things away and realize that you're an adult now. You're a professional. You're getting paid millions. You can't just eat however you want. You have to train a certain way. As you get older, your body doesn't respond the same. As a former athlete, and I still play sports, and Kevin, the same with you, as you get older, it takes a little while to recuperate. And now they're playing against professional people in very high intensity games. And these are things coming to the study room early, not just leaning on necessarily your talent, so you could find the one or two things on tape on a player that you might be going up against that might help you week to week. And as those things get strung along, you develop a rapport and how you come to the table every day. That becomes habit, and you're able to turn that habit into success. And you're seeing that some of these young guys that Joe Douglas are bringing in are just getting a hold of that right away. And I mean, you even saw this, and even though Joe didn't bring him in, you saw this from Quinnen Williams as well. After his first year in the pros, he realized he had to switch some things up if he wanted to be a dominant player like he was in college. And one of them was getting his body right, eating healthy. And Quinnen was able to lose some weight, get in tune. One player that we're going to have to look out for, Kevin, and his weight is Mekhi Becton. Because of his injury history, this guy's going to have to lose a little bit of weight. He's too dynamic. He's too strong. And he's going to have to drop a little of that weight to kind of go throughout the whole season. So for the Jets to bring in a guy like Moses, possibly, that's great because Fant wanted to play left tackle. Essentially, he was brought in to play left tackle, and he was basically told, we have a chip here in front of you. He's going to play the left. He got moved to the right side. And listen, was he all world on the right side? No, but he was good enough. And listen, his left side on his left arm, he wasn't very good either. So it wasn't like he had any protection on the inside. Our quarterback wasn't very good. The play calling wasn't very good. And there was no continuity on that line whatsoever. And so looking at Fant, if he could swing to that backup role, his value is even more so important, in my opinion, because then you don't have the pressure of having this guy to be a starter. You have a better talent there, which makes sense. And it makes it more digestible for you to be able to tell a guy like Fant, like, hey, listen, we have a chance to bring in Moses in here. Like, what are you going to say? Moses hasn't missed a start in like 5 years. His PFF has gone up from 65 to 79 in that span. This is a guy who's going to improve your football team for a young quarterback. And then, listen, how I would pitch it even to Fant is like, injuries happen. You've seen it in Seattle. You've seen it here in New York already. You're going to get another opportunity to play. And so this makes it so much more important. I even heard someone kind of throwing this out there about Moses, saying that, what if Fant possibly moves to guard? I don't know if that necessarily can happen. I will tell you that Fant is athletic enough to do that if he needs to. He's a guy that was put in tight end packages in Seattle sometimes, so he does have the athletic ability to do some things. But to have that guy be a swing tackle is amazing. If they could bring in Moses, that would just show so much patience from Joe Douglas and how he puts together his football team, not rushing. And we've spoken about this, 9,000 times, Kevin, on the Jets Guru audio podcast on Sundays, or your show or here or wherever. It's going to take more than just 1 year to build the Jets. You have to erase what you know about the Jets. You can't rebuild Rome in a day. This is 2-win team rebuild, guys. This is new quarterback, new staff, new playbook type of stuff, guys. I hope you realize this. I know the reports are good and they're happy and we're excited, but this is all new. But the one thing that you could say, and that goes to my open, is that it seems like they got the right guys in there and the right playbook and the right players to execute that playbook. And I think it'll only be a matter of time before they get that going. So, Kevin, before the Jets, next time we're going to see them on the field is in July. Give me a little prediction. Give me a hot take on what you think. There's a guy out there that'll take someone's position right off rip, or what do you think is going to happen? Who's going to be slotted in there for the first day of camp?
All right. I don't know how much of these are going to be a surprise. Before I jump to that topic, I do want to say on that offensive line pickup that you were talking about with the Moses Fant situation and Becton, in all honesty, I don't know if we can count on 17 games of Becton being healthy. I'm not wishing injury or anything, but he's probably going to keep getting nicked up for 1 or 2 games. And having Fant, he played left tackle in Seattle. If anything happened with Moses, we know he can play right tackle. And they needed that insurance policy because of what I just said. I don't think you can count on 17. Remember, we're going to 17-game seasons, right? You need depth is so much more important, more now than ever. 17 games is wear and tear and a preseason. So I think you automatically got an insurance policy there. The one other thing I would say is that with the eating and the healthy thing, this is when it starts getting important to lock up your young talent and have long-term staple players that are part of the Jets organization. Like we remember when you could count on Sean Ellis, Aaron Glenn, Victor Green, those guys you just knew were always going to be Jets, right? They were going to be Kotchery. Those guys who were Jets a long time. But why? Ferguson. Ferguson didn't have to be the best left tackle. You just knew you could count on him every year. And we need guys like Quinnen and May to be this next generation staple Jets. You just count on them every Sunday. They're going to be here. And get those deals done, I think. And then those are the guys who take the rookies under their wings and say, I was just like you when I was young, right? I didn't eat right when I first came in. Quinnen, just like you said, is that exact story. My year 1 to year 2 changed when I changed my diet, changed my workout regimen, changed my preparation, and this is how I got there. And everybody talks about that with like Warren Sapp had 1 sack as a rookie. His stat, you go look at him, 20 tackles, 1 sack. And you would be like, man, he might be a bust going into year 2. 20 tackles and 1 sack for Warren Sapp. But he had to change how he prepared, how he ate, how he lifted, all his moves. He had to watch tape. And that was the transformation of Warren Sapp. And I'm sure every player would have a story like that. We need guys. We don't have anyone. Marcus May, right? Longest tenured Jet. So that's something that has to change. You just have a guy who tells the culture, tells the transition, those types of things. So that's something to watch for. Does Joe Douglas start picking who those guys are going to be over the next couple of years? And I would bet he is, right? So anyways, taking a step back, Nazar Al-Din is a guy just to keep watching. He's a guy to just keep watching. I don't know if it's a surprise or not. He already got moved into the ones recently in camp. I expect that to keep happening. But lots of guys will rotate with the ones. But Nazar Al-Din is the one I think is going to start standing up. Probably would have been a high second-round pick, late first-round pick if he never had that injury and only came back for a couple games and opted out. So then no one had tape on how he was after the injury. That was really good. So and then the other one, Carter, I already said it, running back. I think he starts to emerge as the guy. I don't know, again, if that's a shock or not. And Moore is going to start, guys. He's going to start, and don't be surprised if it's on the outside. The other guy who's going to start is Cole. And in this offense, to be able to switch out inside in the slot is so important. And Cole and Moore can both go in and out of the slot.
Yeah.
Mims doesn't have that flexibility. He will play, but Mims is an outside receiver. So I think Cole will start. Don't be shocked and don't be mad at Mims. He'll still get in sets.
Right.
And the reason that he will is because our tight ends aren't good. There's going to be a lot of passing downs. We're going to go to 4 wide receiver sets and put Cole and Moore on the inside or Crowder. They're going to be rotating Crowder in and then Mims and Davis on the outside. So Jets are going to create a lot of mismatches. So don't get upset about who starts. But Cole is going to start. I would be surprised if he didn't.
How scary does the Jets offense, to me, I mean, people, they could laugh it off because we're the Jets, but how scary schematically could the Jets possibly be when you have a guy like Cole as, like, let's say your 4th option? You got Mims in here, who I think has a ton of talent. And we saw it in the first half of games when he was featured that he's able to go up and get the ball. He's able to twist and move in the air when trying to make difficult catches. I just think that the Jets' offensive scheming last year was awful, and they didn't make adjustments and set Mims up for in the second half when they adjusted to him. And so this is a totally different ball game now. And I told you when they first signed Keelan Cole how big of a move this was for the Jets to bring in a guy like this. This is a guy who's had 750 yards receiving in this league before. This isn't some rookie or some camp guy that was brought in. This is a legit slot receiver who can also move around the field. And then you have Moore again. And it all goes back to bringing in the proper personalities to fit what you want to do. And you said it best. You said, oh, Carter can emerge. Well, you look at Carter, and you look at what he had to deal with, having a back that was in front of him in Williams. He has a chip on his shoulder, and he wants to prove it. He wants to go out there. 5th-round pick. And you go out here and you get somebody like Moore, who, like you said, if he's probably 6 feet tall, he's probably a first-round pick. And really, the only downside on his grade would be his size. And we're starting to see in this NFL that smaller guys, if you use them properly, you could take advantage of their speed and their versatility. And the Jets are seeming to do that in camp. And so, I mean, when you look at this draft class in combination with last year's, this could be really exciting time for the New York Jets. So I'm super excited to have you on, Kevin. Thanks for tuning in and coming in and jumping back in us with the Guru. Listen, if you guys aren't listening to us, please do, because we have a good time. Once the season gets started, it'll be a weekly thing. Usually once every 2 weeks, we do an episode. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, we're on there. Just type in Jets Guru. I mean, anywhere. iTunes, Spotify, I mean, Google, all of it. And so just type in Jets Guru. You can hear me and Kevin every Sunday. We usually flip a new episode on the off season, about 2 a month. And so please also, while you're there, check out live rounds too. Is it still on Wednesdays or Tuesdays or Wednesdays?
No, we're moving to Wednesdays. We'll have a new format, and then we're going to set up a YouTube channel soon.
Okay.
So we'll post those details when they become available. We're switching everything up. So sorry for the delays, guys, but we'll keep pumping new episodes soon.
Awesome. Yeah, stay with those guys for sure. And thank you so much, Kevin. And listen, guys, something else I want to say too, there's some wonderful pages out there. If you guys aren't checking out Jets Guru content, you got Home of the Jets, you got NFL Longest Yard, you got AFC East news and discussions. If you want to kind of drift off of the New York Jets and check out some other stuff as well. Like I said, live rounds, new era, New York Jets end zone. Michelle runs that page with Euros. It's awesome. I mean, like, there's so many cool places that you can. Did I say new era? Yeah, I said new era. There's just so many. I try to throw a few out there per show and just try to like get some shine on each other. Because we have so much good content out there, and that's where we're eventually going to be starting this Jets world, where it's going to be a page where you can get all your Jets content from different people, including myself, throughout the whole week to prepare you and to get you excited and juiced up for Sunday for when the Jets play. And so that's coming within the next week or two, maybe 2 weeks or so. We're just finalizing everything, and we'll be ready to go for that. And so I really appreciate all the support, guys. The numbers are going up. We just need you to keep sharing, keep watching, keep listening, and hopefully sooner or later we're going to get where we need to go. And so with that being said, one guy that's kind of getting left out of a lot of discussions and finally gets to return to the New York Jets is Jamison Crowder. And we're going to bring in Krista for Christas Corner for that and kind of discuss Jamison, because a lot of people, with all the hot news of the young guys coming in and the new additions doing a good job, we've kind of forgotten how good Jamison Crowder really is, Krista. And now that he's back, and once July comes, I know the talk has been all about more, but once Crowder gets into camp, I'd like to see what the talk is then, because he knows how to run routes too, especially in the slot, and I know Wilson's going to be accustomed to it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe that everyone kind of forgot about, well, not supposedly forgot about Jamison Crowder. I think everyone is like me, gaga over Elijah Moore, and rightfully so. I love Elijah Moore as well. But keep in mind, we have Jamison Crowder as well, and I feel like he was the one reliable target that we had when all our weapons went down. And what I like about Jamison Crowder was that prior, he was a security blanket for Sam Darnold, and he seemed to be everywhere. Wherever Sam Darnold was, you can count on Jamison Crowder to somehow catch his footballs and bail him out. And I feel like he's a very, very quarterback-friendly type guy. And what I mean by that is just look at the tape what he's done to help Sam Darnold out during his time with the New York Jets when receivers started to go down. Jamison Crowder stepped up, and he was able to take over the role for the New York Jets to be that guy. And he did that with the Washington Redskins as well. He was the guy that was able to move the chains for the Washington Redskins when no one really knew really much about him. He was the reliable target for them. And I think this was one of the better moves that Mike McCagan has done. And believe me, I can go on and bash about our previous GMs, but that's not about the show. It's not about this segment. This segment is about how good Jamison Crowder is. And McCagan did a good job of signing Jamison Crowder because he fit the role as a slot receiver. He moves the chains very well. When the Jets were moving, I can count on Jamison Crowder to move the chains. And I'm happy Jamison Crowder is back Jamison Crowder is the guy that I feel that kind of gets left behind. We're always talking about Braxton Berrios because he's another guy that people kind of forget about. He's also doing good in camp. We got Keelan Cole. I love Keelan Cole. I rave about him on Twitter all the time. You have Elijah Moore. And Jamison Crowder fits this offense as well. And I think the one thing as Jet fans that we need to forget is that last year, injuries took a toll at the wide receiving core. And the one thing that all these analysts, all these reports are always saying, oh man, look at what Sam Darnold had to work with. Look, everyone's going down, and all he has is Jamison Crowder and all these other guys. And what I like about keeping to Jameson is that for a guy like Zach Wilson, you can never have too many weapons. And the one criticism, if you go and listen all the time, is that they always say, "Oh, the Jets aren't good at supporting their young quarterbacks. They don't give them weapons." And now look at all the weapons that Zach Wilson has now. You have Jamison Crowder, you have Elijah Moore, you have Keelan Cole, you have Denzel Mims. And Kevin said it best, our tight ends are not good. So you want to have as many weapons at wide receiver as possible. And for a LaFleur-type offense, you need all those slot wide receivers. And I think it's good to have that veteran presence like Jamison Crowder because he could teach the young guys the ropes. He's a guy that has been around the league. And I think for a guy like Elijah Moore, who's been lighting up at camp, I think he can learn so much from Jamison Crowder. And when things went south with the New York Jets, Jamison Crowder has never said a bad word about the coaching staff, never threw anyone under the bus, never threw Sam Darnold under the bus. He was a positive guy. And I was just glad to have Jamison Crowder back. I didn't want him to go, and I was hoping that when he was discussing a new contract that the Jets would bring him back. I'm not a big fan of the pay cut, but hey, you got to do what you got to do. You have to keep Jamison Crowder here, in my opinion. I think it was a smart move. I think it was a smart move from Jamison Crowder to stay here as well because I'm not sure if he would get as much as he's currently getting with the New York Jets. But to supply Zach Wilson with all the weapons, I think it's quite amazing.
I have to agree with you, Krista. I think it's really the best move for Jamison because he's already been here a few years. It's already late in the game. For him to get released right now, have to, shift everything and go somewhere else where a team's already kind of put their roster together. So if they were going to bring in a guy like a Jamison Crowder, that'd be for an injury or to add. And I think here they really do have a legit role for Jamison. He's a good football player. I mean, listen, I guarantee you put him on one of these winning teams here, he's going to put up some good numbers. You have to remember, Jamison Crowder, all these guys, J.J. Smith-Schuster, and who was the other guy from Carolina? I think Moore was a free agent. Curtis Samuels. And he had the same numbers as these guys over the last 2 years, and that's playing for the New York Jets. This isn't playing with Big Ben. This isn't playing with some of these guys that these other players have played with, or even having the protection of a running back like McCaffrey who could set you up with some play action to help you get some yards. So, I mean, it's one of those things where Jamison is just an excellent route runner. He's a professional. I think this is the best move for him, and you have to believe that in that conversation, it was like, if we start to really tank, can you send me someplace where there's a winner if it's on the table? And I really do, and I think this is because Joe has set this up, and you've seen what he's done with the veterans. I think he will try to take care of Jamison, and he will, if the Jets do wind up pushing themselves out of playoff contention, and he's kind of they want to start playing some of the young guys. I think he will move him to a place that will really benefit him, and that's awesome because what that would do, and hopefully the Jets compete the whole year out. But speaking within that window, if they're able to do that and Jamison gets shipped to a contender, then he could compete for a playoff team on a free agency year and make himself more valuable. And so I think that Jamison staying here, he probably got the okay that, hey, if something happens, we're going to move you and you are going to catch some footballs here. This isn't going to be, we're going to stash you on the bench. Because I think if that was the case, and he's like, Coach, listen, if you're going to put me on the bench, like I've been pretty productive the last couple of years. I'd like to continue this. I'm pretty sure they would have said, okay, well, then we'll just separate ways so you can go somewhere. So I think this is something that works for everyone. And remember, and we always have to remember this as Jet fans, injuries happen all the time.
Yep.
And I really do think that this team is going to be built on hot streaks. And I think something that's completely opposite of what we've seen the last few years with Adam Gase is that when a player has a hot streak or a player's got a hot hand, I really think that this team is going to use those players. And so there's going to be a rotation here. I don't think there's – the only guy that I think is going to consistently be in the roster and not be shuffled out is probably Corey Davis. You spent a premium on him. He's a really good blocking wide receiver, and you have to have your blocking wide receivers out there just for that sake alone, and he's already your best receiver. And so the way I'm seeing it from there is besides Davis, everyone is going to be mixed in and out. Everyone's going to have an opportunity to come in and be fresh series to series, and I think that's great for the wide receiving core. So bringing Jameson Crowder back when money is not an issue for the Jets this year or next year, I think is a great move. And thanks for all that information, Krista. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And so listen, you guys, you have to be excited here about the OTAs and what we saw. And again, shorts and okay, we get it. But it's just nice to have no Manish dumbness out there, just spreading absolute drama. New quarterback who, from all reports, has the physical tools, seems to be learning well, adjusting to mistakes. Running back room looking good, wide receivers looking good, potential new right tackle that could really take your offensive line probably up another 5-6 spots as far as efficiency. You got to love what you're seeing from the New York Jets. You got to be excited from what you're seeing from the New York Jets and what you're hearing from the New York Jets. And we just got to pray for health all the way through for these guys. You know, and hopefully from there, the New York Jets could build something, because we talk about how hard it is in the AFC East and how hard it is in the AFC and how the quarterbacks are coming. And so the Jets are going to be building. It's about building. This is about individual building. When you look at this season, do not look at the win totals. Is Zach Wilson playing at a high level his rookie year? Because we've seen that the elite quarterbacks, they're able to do this with much less than what Zach Wilson is going to start with too. So there's going to be growing pains, but you should still be able to see that talent. I want to see growth from Elijah Moore. I want to see what Corey Davis has to offer, the guy, the big wide receiver we brought in. Does Quinnen Williams keep increasing? How does Carl Lawson look? In camp, he looks fast and ready to go. You know, how is this team going to be schematically used? Are they going to be really aggressive? I'm not sure how they're going to play it. There's so many different things that I'm excited to see. Individuals, because remember, a lot of the guys that are brought here are young. They're going to be here next year. Now is the building. The Jets, the last few years, you saw a lot of rotation because of the way the contracts were set up. But now Joe's starting to bring in his guys. So these guys are going to be here for a while moving forward, and they want to put that continuity together, and it starts right here. And so basically, guys, I really appreciate the support. We're going to have the highlights pretty soon. I just wanted to give a shout-out again to Home of the Jets, NFL Longest Yard. You know, there's a lot of other Jet pages. Again, New Era, End Zone. I mean, I could just go down the list of places where you could get really, really good Jets content. And I just want to be supportive. I'm not here to take anyone's views. I'm not here to broadcast myself. Weapons Hot. Please check out Weapons Hot. Please go on. Awesome audio podcast. # New York Jets broadcast. Weapons Hot. I'm not trying to take views from anyone. I'm just trying to enter my piece into the competition here and maybe get noticed. I have a degree. I've been working hard. Like, it's not like I'm just some guy that signed up. I've been doing this a while. I know my way around the camera. I know my way around editing. I could do a lot of different things, and we're just trying to grow and grow together. And so I appreciate all the support. Again, check out Home of the Jets podcast, Longest Yards, first live rounds, AFC East news and discussions, and please go and consume as much Jet content as possible. So when Sundays come, you are ready to go and you know your New York Jets. Okay. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. And JR put together a nice little piece for us, some vintage Jet stuff, baby. I love watching good times. And so today was a rough day for me, driving 5 hours in New York City. Traffic will drive you insane. You spend 90% on the road, 10% at your destination. It's wild. But we're here. We're New Yorkers, and we're ready to go. Everybody have a good week. Enjoy the Jets content.
This week on Jets Throwback, we're taking it back to 2010. Week 15, New York Jets wild card versus division leader Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's get it. So opening play, we're kicking off. New York getting the ball. Brad, the Swiss Army knife Smith, you know what he's doing, taking it to the house. The Jets are going to go up 7-0. There was a flag on this play. For what reason, I do not know, but the touchdown did stand. These are the good old days right here. So Big Ben comes out on their first drive, 3rd and 5, lockdown, Cromartie, Batman and Robin. You already know. So Jets come out for their second possession. We're going to give it to Sean Green. Nice cutback, 1st down, looking good. Sanchez, Braylon Edwards. Another 1st down, moving the ball, moving the rock. Good to LT, doing what he does best, get them yards. Sanchez. Oh, that's Santonio Holmes, first game back in Pittsburgh. You know he's trying to get that touchdown. You know he wants it. So pretty much what happens, we lose a lot of yards and end up punting. So Pittsburgh comes back, starting the second quarter with the catch. Hines Ward. They're moving the rock, they're moving it. Big Ben
runs away from the pressure and gets the completion and the 1st down.
3rd and short again for the Steelers, 3 times today.
Chase, and he's got Sanders against Sanders with another 3rd down. Steps over to hand it off to Mendenhall, makes the move to avoid the loss and picks up. And a sack.
Oh, nice trip up right there on 2nd and 10. Makes it a 3rd and 17.
Plays, but passes to Sanders.
Marty comes with the blitz, gets the take out.
He's got his man. 16 near the 1st. It's Hines Ward. Wow. Big spot coming up this time. Again, it began back at their own 4.
So on 3rd and 4, Pittsburgh comes down and ties the ball game up with a touchdown from whoever. It really don't matter. He ain't in the green and white. It don't matter. So Sanchez comes back. We're getting 6 minutes left. Braylon Edwards, quick slant. We're moving the rock. Right now, he's about to drop a dime to Braylon Edwards. Watch this play develop. Oh, fake him out right. Dropping dimes, baby. Dropping dimes. So New York's got inside the 9, 3rd and 8. Quick slant. Not even a slant. Cutback. Whatever you want to call it. And Santonio Holmes a little pissed. He wants that touchdown. He just can't get it. So Nick Folk comes in with a 3. So we're down 2 minutes left. 10-7. New York's this tight game, man. We got to get this win. We're in the wild card. Need this dub. So Pittsburgh does what they do best. Move the ball down the field. Jets do what they do best, you know, giving up big plays. And yeah, so Pittsburgh's moving it down. We got about 50 seconds left. Oh, he tries to pull the Dan Marino, the fake spike. He's a little pissed. He's like, get your head in the game, boy. We had that. So now we have 3rd and 10. Big Ben slinging it, baby. Slinging it too hard. So they're bringing their kicker.
It's getting serious on this track, fam.
But he hits the 3, and we're tied going into the 3rd quarter. And Big Ben throwing lasers to Mike Wallace. What do you know? That's Mike Wallace again. Mike Wallace was big into their game plan. They're starting to run on a good run defense. Moving inside the 5-yard line, and Pittsburgh will run it right up the middle for the touchdown and take their first lead of the game, 17-10, mid through the 3rd quarter. Here we're at a crucial 3rd and 1. Sanchez pops out, and he hits, who is that? Dustin Keller? I ain't heard that name in a minute. So another fake. He's looking. Sanchez, drops it to Braylon. Braylon gets hit hard. I mean, it's football, man. So, but he did leave with his helmet, and it is against my team, so we're going to take that flag. Let's see that again. Oh, damn. All right, so we're at a 3rd and 5. Sanchez drops back. He's looking. He throws. Who is that? Santonio, but he can't get the first. So we're going for it on 4th and 1. Yakums, where's the ball? Sanchez moving the rock with the O-line. Nice fake, man. He even got me the first time. So we're coming back now. 2nd and 10. Santonio Holmes, quick slant. Tie ball game, 4th quarter. Crunch time, baby. Oh, Sanchez got me on that fake. Hits Braylon Edwards. How did he shake that tackle? I don't know, man. I don't